Welcome to the Eddie Lam Show. We dedicate this podcast to interviewing musicians of every kind, as well as online content creators on social media. Whether if they're starting out or if they're already on the rise and still growing, this show is all about having a fun conversation with our guests, talking about their favorite things that relate to their passion for their projects. Thank you so much for tuning in, and let's have that conversation. Entrepreneurship is never easy. Sometimes you wear multiple hats. At times it requires thinking outside the box, and most of all, it requires time and effort. Our guest for this episode is DeShaun Jones, who's based in Ontario. He's an artist manager, has an extensive experience in working behind the scenes at music festivals, and has been involved in other avenues in the music business. Okay, everybody, we have in the studio a guest who just flew in from Hamilton, Ontario. He has been a part of the music business for quite some time. You should check out his resume. He's done everything. Currently, he's the founder and CEO of Mango Tree Music Corps. He's also done many great festivals in the East Coast. He's done the Niagara Grape and Wine Festival, Niagara Jazz Festival. He's also done the Hamilton Arts Council as a curator. And he's also done some amazing things for such companies as Universal Music Canada. He's also been an online or broadcast personality, rather, for Joy Radio. And once you hear him, you're going to be like, wow, he's got that radio voice. And I can tell he's been an amazing, experienced broadcaster. So without further ado, we're going to introduce this amazing person who has now been managing artists and empowering them as well. We have DeShaun Jones. Welcome to the show, DeShaun. How are you doing today?
Thank you. Hey, man, it's great. No, I appreciate this. This is awesome.
No problem. First of all, again, welcome back to BC. I know you traveled back and forth before, but good to have you back here again this year. And, I've always wanted to get to know people from different musical backgrounds, whether they've been involved in the industry, the media side of things, or production, or whatever it may be. And so your resume is so unique. When our old friend Josiah told me about you, I'm just like, wow, you know what? I got to get this guy on my show.
Appreciate that. No, it's consistently a journey, and it's been one that has a lot of I call them roller coasters.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? You have to really love it.
Oh, exactly. Yeah. So speaking of your love for music, let's dig deep into your past here. So how did you build your knowledge for music and even the business of it itself as well?
Well, music itself, I've had it in me since my grandfather days, where I grew up playing drums in my grandfather's church. Mm-hmm. So I was a musician first, so I fell in love with that, and then continued, just played for I don't know how long, till I was like 21. And then I always say I come from a long line of entrepreneurs, because my mother is a business owner, my grandfather was a business owner, his mother was a business owner in Jamaica. So that's right. I fell in love with it. And once I learned about, I guess truthfully, once I learned about who really makes the money in the music industry, and found out that artists don't, I jumped in and said, okay, I need to find out how this can balance out.
Exactly.
Right. And I've been involved in the music industry for about over 25 years.
That's right.
Right. So I'm 52 now. So it's like I've started way back, and I still have the hunger for it, and the process of, I always say, the mechanics of music.
That's right.
Right. So when an artist wants to actually understand how to monetize themselves, and how they can continue to fuel their art, then that's when the switch has to turn. In a way. Exactly.
And just for the record, I know this is more of an audio interview, but if you guys, for those who can't see right now, I'm going to describe this straight up. DeShaun does not look anywhere near 50 at all, not even 40. I actually thought you were probably like 36 or even younger than that.
They always say 50 is the new 30.
I know. It's true. It is true. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So you were playing drums growing up, and did you like have any like specific gear that you love when it comes to playing drums? You have like a specific snare sound that you like?
Yeah, my thing. I mean, I always say I was a funk pocket drummer.
Right.
So my thing was a piccolo snare.
Yes.
I bought it from Long McQuaid. I saved up $220. And it was a Yamaha brass piccolo.
Right.
10-inch piccolo snare, and I tuned it to where I can get the snap.
Oh, yes.
So because I played reggae, I played hip hop.
That's right.
I played a lot of funk, a lot of like jazz.
Right on.
So it was playing in church. You have to learn how to play different styles.
That's right.
Right, and you have your main one because it was predominantly a black church.
Yeah.
So we had everything was predominantly reggae.
That's right.
Because it comes from Jamaica. Mm-hmm. So, but a lot of musicians, we would dabble into blues. We throw in funk, R&B,
right.
soul music. To have fun with the hymns.
Yeah, exactly.
That type of thing because we didn't want it so boring.
Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah.
So my thing was I love that piccolo snare, man. You get that snap.
Yeah.
I want people to feel it in the back row. That's
right. Yeah, and I can only imagine, growing up in a predominantly black church, you must have been used to like those really amazing Hammond organ sounds, right? That go well with all the gospel
we had
tunes.
3 of them. Yeah, I had one in my house, and then one in my dad's church was 2 floors, so he had one Hammond B3 in the basement. And then the second one in the main sanctuary, he had another B3.
Right on.
2 massive Leslies in the corner.
Yeah. So instead of the usual pipe organ, this is the Hammond organ.
The Hammond organ
rules to roost at that church.
When it's played properly,
yeah,
it's a beautiful thing.
Oh no, for sure. Yeah, and of course, with you, as part of the rhythm section, like the bass player complements that style too. Like it's almost like like the rhythm section is the foundation of gospel music.
Yeah, and then it holds it, and then it's the singer. It's that lead or the choir.
Yeah.
And when they go, like the musicians are just there to enhance that and just provide that soundscape so that when people hear singing like that, then the harmonies and how tight they are and then how they can translate the joy or the pain of whatever they're feeling.
Yeah.
Through the lyrics, through the experience, and then gospel music is like gospel singers and musicians are above and beyond anything out there.
Oh, for sure, yeah. And you look at all these other legends who've started out singing in church too. Mm-hmm. I mean, of course, the late great Aretha Franklin.
Absolutely,
she's done it herself.
Absolutely,
Whitney Houston, she's done it herself as well. They all started there, and lo and behold, they became one of the biggest icons.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I always say gospel music is the foundation of pretty much almost all music, between like gospel and blues.
Yeah,
because they both came from the plantation.
That's right.
Right, one went to church, the other one went to the clubs.
That's right.
So those are the things but you look at what those 2 genres and styles birthed from, I mean, name it. The only thing it probably didn't touch was classical music.
That's right.
Other than that, it's pretty much everything else. It's came from the derivative of that.
That's true.
And it's amazing. So
I couldn't agree more.
So that's where my first love came in, and it's hooked me ever since. And then I stumbled on Prince, and then that was it.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Do you have any favorite gospel tunes? Like maybe, like say for example, "I'm So Glad Jesus Lifted Me," or any other classics like that?
I would say it's an old hymn called "The Old Rugged Cross."
Yes, we all know that one. Yes.
Yeah, I love that one, and that was my grandfather's favorite because he used to play it on the B3.
That's right. Yeah.
So that's always been one of my. Yeah. And then "Don't Believe He Brought Me This Far." That's another one, and then. My gosh, so much by James Cleveland.
Right.
He's a great gospel songwriter.
Yeah.
And then you get into like Fred Hammond, and you get into Hezekiah Walker.
Yes.
I mean everybody knows Kirk Franklin.
Yes, definitely. Right? Yes.
Yeah, but you get into like Walter Hawkins. Those type of guys sang like they wrote some songs and. Beautiful.
I think my favorite one personally was the late great Jesse Dixon.
Oh yeah, okay.
Who wrote was it Highway to Heaven? I believe that was him. Yeah. And then
those are old school.
And some other great tunes too. But rest in peace to that fella. But I'm so glad that you're open to mention all these amazing tunes that maybe some people forgot. They're like, wait a minute, hold on.
Yeah,
go back and play it.
Come on, like people don't realize that one of Elvis's best-selling records is his gospel album.
That's true. Yeah, and his version of How Great Thou Art.
Amazing.
Was, yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
I saw the Elvis biopic, and I was just
man.
blown away about his history.
Yeah, man. His mama took him to church, and he was in the Memphis churches.
That's right.
And it wasn't the the white Southern Baptist. He went to the black Southern Baptist.
Exactly. Yeah.
So he saw all that.
Yeah.
So he knew how to sing gospel.
His influences were straight from that.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, man.
So moving on though, because like with you listening to Prince as well, like did you collect all his vinyls growing up?
Everything.
Nice.
I think I have almost every album on almost every format.
Right on.
I've even the movies. I have it on DVD, Blu-ray, VHS. I have all 3 of the movies.
Yeah.
That and on all those formats.
Yeah.
And it's Prince's. He's always been that influence that made me really get into music, and to see how his musicianship and then to understand his business acumen that even helps, bring a lot of fortitude on how I handle myself in the music industry and stuff. So he's always been something like that. I mean, there's other artists out there, but he's number one for me.
Of course. And Prince is so multi-talented. And we all know one amazing guitar player, very outstanding, like larger than life when it comes to his talent. But what about his personality? Is there something from his personality that drew you to him?
How real he was with who he was as an artist and a person, and how he had his standards and just how he carried himself, and he did everything himself. Like he did not want to be controlled.
Yeah,
he knew what he had to do. He was just being an expressive person, and it's just his work ethic, that did it, and then just his philosophy on certain things in regards to even. How he would handle things in the music industry.
That's right.
And how he went and introduced certain things that people are doing now.
Yeah.
Like, there's certain things that Prince would do business-wise that, he would sometimes use his CD as a ticket into his concert.
Right. Yes.
And I went to them. I was like, what? I can get the CD and get all day.
Yeah.
So he realizes now he just manipulated SoundScan, that he sold all those records in one time. And he can use those not just for his ticket sales for his show, but he can use it from album sales.
Well, in a way, he kind of gave us a 2-for-1 deal.
Of course.
Yeah.
He's a smart guy, man.
Well, that's the thing, because it seems like just how he ran things, like he cared about his fans.
Yes. I haven't had the pleasure yet to do the pilgrimage to Paisley Park, but I will. But yeah, I remember I was part of his MPG club, New Power Generation Club. Oh, yeah. I was part of that, where we would get behind the scenes, and sometimes we get access to videos, and you would see how his concerts that he would have at the park.
Yeah,
it was like he knew people. He'd be jamming with you, and you're like, my God, he's standing right beside you. You know what I mean? And he's just chilling. But that's these are individuals that appreciate his music.
Yeah,
and they're fans. We're fans, but we're not like gonna just maul him.
Yeah,
we respect him,
Yeah, and that's the thing too. It's almost like he didn't want to be put on a pedestal. He just actually wants to be the guy that sits there and hangs out, has a beer with you, and
play music.
Yeah, and just jam with him basically.
But he loves basketball. Everybody who talks to him or talks about him always said he was he's the chillest guy ever.
Yeah,
he'll shoot hoops with you. He'll play pool with you.
Yeah,
you just said watch basketball or whatever, all the kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So it's pretty cool that of the type of individual he was, but at the same time he'll crack that whip, and that's what I liked. He was about his business.
Exactly. Yeah, and it's almost like when you said that he took he wants to be able to take full control of his music, of his craft. It's like, of course, the whole thing with him being a symbol is like his way to fight against the man.
Yep. He had to, because of the contracts, whatever. He had to kill Prince for a little bit.
Yeah,
and then he became the symbol.
Yeah, there you go.
And that was great. And then he realized. Then after the whatever term, he can become Prince again.
Yeah, and that symbol became a brand itself.
Of course.
Yeah,
smart. He's a smart guy, man.
Yeah,
he's a smart guy.
So what is the one thing that you would take away that you've learned a lot from Prince, whether business wise or musically speaking?
Just pour your heart out through your art, through your music,
right on,
and just take your experiences and just put them out there, because that's your part of your therapy.
That's right.
That when you can, and then he knew he had talent, like he had God-given talent, and And he took that, and when he created songs, there's certain songs that connect with people.
Yeah.
Right. And there's other artists that have that type of effect on individuals. And, you know, but for me, I mean, listening to Prince and stuff like that, the takeaway is that he went through a lot of his struggle.
Yeah.
Especially being, you know, a mixed race person in Minnesota.
That's right. Yeah.
You know, looking different. His stature was small, so but he was larger than life. That's the thing. He was only 5'3".
Yeah.
But he was the 6'7" when he walked into a room.
That's right.
You know, and his music spoke for it. His personality spoke for it. How he carried himself spoke for it, and then how he spoke. He's intelligent. He if he's gonna say something, he's gonna back it up. So that's know, you take a lot of that, and you look at it, it's like and then you kind of, especially with his movie, you know, you learned a little bit about it. It's like, okay, I get it. Yeah. You know, but he kept on going.
That's right.
Through the struggle.
Yeah. And as they say in video game terminology, he's kind of the final boss.
Yep.
Yeah.
There you go.
There you go. Awesome. So when it came to composing music, have you had some experience in music production yourself behind the board, or have you helped out produce other people's music?
I more was I tried to dabble into beat programming and composition, but I was more the guy that I fell in love with the production aspect, like the recording and the mixing, the editing, the mastering.
Cool.
And then that's where my time where I was able to intern at Trebas Recording Art School in Toronto.
That's right. Yeah.
So that gave me, that was about 2 to 3 years of just learning what it is to really properly record and get it to the level of what we hear on radio.
Exactly. Or
what we hear on a CD, and that there is a difference between a demo, a rough demo, a demo, and then a master, and then a finished master.
That's right.
To learn all that, to say, okay, this is how they get it to that quality.
Exactly.
It was amazing. I never wanted to be really an engineer.
Yeah.
But I wanted to know how to talk to one.
That's right.
I always wanted to learn the business part and then the art part. So, that they had a position in the labels called A&R.
That's right.
So that was always I always wanted to be an A&R guy.
That's right.
Because I could work with an artist, say, okay, here's production, do a demo, but then also, relay the vision of the artist to the label and make sure that both of those parties are working cohesively.
That's right.
That was they don't really they have the new A&R departments are different than the old A&R guys.
Right? Yeah. And it's almost in a way like you're being the liaison between the artist and the people that they're trying to work with.
I always say a facilitator.
There you go. Yeah. Yeah.
But I love the creative process. I love to track. I love when tracking happens. I love mixing. I love being that process for mixing and seeing how the song evolves. Yeah. And then mastering is just mastering.
Exactly.
I mean, it's a cherry on the top, but either way, I prefer the mixing process. But I've been involved in, I would say, more what they call recording production.
That's right.
So I'm more of I would say, an album producer, or a project producer, or a recording producer. Where I'll help with the session. Yeah. Or get people who are composers, to work with you for songwriting. So songwriting process for me is okay.
Yeah, of course.
Because I don't play drums anymore. Yeah. But that I love the production process. Yeah. And then from there, after that, where does it go? What's the next level? So I love that aspect of it too.
That's right.
Right. So the whole thing of the mechanics is great.
Awesome. And speaking of creativity and being the mastermind behind making things happen, so you and your whole family, of course, entrepreneurship runs in your family, like you mentioned earlier this evening. Even looking at your resume, you've done all these different festivals behind the scenes, right? What was one of the many challenges when it comes to festivals? Because we know festivals are not easy. Right, we all know that. So with you behind the scenes, what was one of the challenges that you had to learn how to overcome, and now you've learned so much more from it?
Well, there's always going to be ups and downs when it comes to festival production, and I've had the privilege to work with some people who have been doing it longer than me. Through the Niagara Grape and Wine Festival in St. Catharines, the Niagara Jazz Festival that happens all around St. Catharines. Yeah. The people there, and working with even the Hamilton Winterfest
Yeah.
Jeremy over there in Hamilton, it's a really good festival. That gave me a lot regarding logistics.
Right on.
So it's basically working backwards from your timeline, but then also overthinking and making sure that everything's safe.
Right on.
Once you and because you have to deal with municipalities, you got to deal with permits, you got to deal with
that's right,
a lot of things,
the legal stuff,
all the
behind
stuff,
the scenes,
and then take care of that first and early because they have their schedule.
That's right.
You know, so you have to follow the municipality's schedule. But I've learned it's diplomacy, knowing how to wear different hats, and making sure that the environment is cohesive and safe for the people who are coming.
Right on.
And that way we can all have fun. You know, because it's enjoyable to see people enjoy music.
Exactly.
And get connected to it for the first time, because that you don't know what that festival is to them at that time in their life.
That's right.
That could be their first one.
Exactly.
You know, that there could be two kids from high school going to their first festival and share their first kiss. You know, it's so that you have to be involved in that environment and thinking about, you know what, this could be somebody's first festival.
Yeah.
So you got to give them a good experience.
Yeah, and you want to take it very seriously.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You have to, because it's, again, safety's first, because you don't want people getting hurt. You want people to feel safe coming in and have everybody have a good environment.
Exactly. Well, I always tell anyone who gets involved with trying to put on events like that together, you know, if you ever feel bad about yourself, just always be thankful you're not working for Fire Festival.
Yeah, that's for sure.
You know, I'm just like, because we look at that documentary, it's like,
that wasn't crazy.
Oh, it's a good events planning learning lesson, I think.
Yeah.
Like if you want to
what not to do.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you know, because I study events planning myself,
nice.
Right? But I felt like, you know, now the new standard for the course should be just play the students that movie.
Yep.
And then they'll learn a lot from that.
Absolutely. They'll either run away or know what not to do.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, that was crazy. And that festivals, you always have to think of, the biggest thing that's always taught me is to think of what could happen wrong and make sure it doesn't.
Exactly.
And overthink that part as much as possible. Mm-hmm. And then, because once you have your health and safety plan and all that kind of planning, then everybody else will fall in line, because they're like, okay, you thought about those.
Yeah.
And everything else is fine then.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's the thing too, because you're dealing with outdoors, and there's going to be like not just hundreds but thousands of people coming in attendance, right?
Yeah.
You know, of course, when you do, you know, like smaller scale concerts, that's a different ball game itself. But but that's easier to put on. But when you're dealing with an outdoor festival like the ones you've mentioned out in Niagara Falls, right? It's like, well, this is the thing, because this is one of those major cities where a lot of people are going to flock over there and attend and watch, and they want to make sure that, you know, like you said, safety first, right? And unfortunately, you know, we hear about these things that get overlooked, and we hear on the news every time. And you know, the first thing that always comes to my mind is, well, you know, what did the safety team do? Like, did anyone, you know, oversee that operation?
It's I find that you can have the plan, but if it's not executed during the event, then it's always looking at, once the event starts, that's when the real job starts, because you have to make sure you're always watching what's going on.
That's right.
So then you can, if there is an issue, you kind of swarm it and get it done and over with before people even realize. As best as possible. When your staff just leaves things and let it slack, then that's how things happen, because they don't get it. The attention doesn't get to it quick enough.
Yeah, and I think this is where training is so necessary with this kind of stuff too. It's almost like you got to do like some reenactments and be like, okay, you know, like for example, like security.
That's a good idea. No, that's true. It's like what firemen, like they reenact what it is to go into a burning home. Yep. Okay, then, you know, let's see what happens. Okay, this is what happened. Let's, like you say, security. We're gonna do a role play of someone being belligerent. You know, over drinking and trying to get in. Yeah. How do you handle it?
Yeah,
you know, because people don't events got to realize too, and security is the first point of contact. Exactly. They're doormen. Yeah. So then they have to know how to handle themselves. Yeah, exactly. You know, so yeah, there you go. It's good. That's a good idea though. Yeah, no, I think everything comes into practice, and that's how you get better at it. Yeah. So why not do training? Exactly. No, that's smart. Yeah, thank you. So what has been one of the best highlights though when it came to seeing successful festivals? Like, what's your favorite moment that you've enjoyed witnessing? the connection of a band to an artist to an audience.
Right.
Just being able to, like, I've had the opportunity to help artists get booked. So you get a chance to be behind the stage, on the stage.
Yeah.
I had the opportunity once to I was in, I think it was Font Hill or somewhere in the Niagara region.
Yeah.
And there was a band called the Satellites. They're a reggae band from the 2000s, early 2000s. They won like 2 Juno Awards.
Right on.
They're still active. Amazing in Toronto.
Oh, great.
They're like the ambassadors of reggae music, multicultural band.
Oh, amazing.
So I was able to get them booked in this outdoor family park.
Mm-hmm.
And this was like in the evening.
Right.
So they were coming in, hit traffic, coming in. They just got there. So the band, there was like maybe, I would say maybe 1,500
right.
people. And to see when they came on, because the band was playing first and getting the vibe going, and then the artist came on, and then these people the audience wouldn't necessarily know the band.
Yeah.
But reggae music across the board is loved.
Right.
And just to see that connection of when they first came on, and then they just started singing, and that was one of the nice moments.
That's amazing.
And then you go to a larger one, and let's say in Burlington.
Yeah.
Let's say the Burlington Sound and Music Festival, the Burlington Riff Fest.
Right.
They got like 300,000 people.
That's right. Yeah.
Satellites where we play there, and you see the same connection, but it's a larger one. And then when you see that, because I'm taking pictures, it's a pretty good experience. And it's like, wow, that's to see how music can really touch people and how people can get connected to people. It's really awesome.
Yeah. And I think that's the most important thing. Like, everyone always tells me that's the one thing about concerts in general, even if they see a band for the first time that they've never known about, right? It's like, they say, even for opening acts, for example, they could be the best virtuoso instrumentalist, for example, or they could be the best singer in the world, like Adele. But audience connection, I think, is the most important factor.
Absolutely.
And actually, I had one guest over here on the show. He said that even chemistry is another important thing, even not just between the performers and the and the audience, but even between the bandmates themselves.
Yeah. Yep.
And I'm just like, that's so true, because like, if I enjoy chemistry on stage, then that means we're seeing these musicians who really enjoy each other's company, and you can feel that.
Oh yeah, it totally resonates. It totally, like, if the band is disconnected, there's no synergy.
Yeah,
it'll vibe.
Yeah,
if they're having a great day and the energy levels there, it's just gonna pour out to the audience.
Exactly.
So I always tell artists this too. It's like, when you're on stage, you guys should be having more fun
with each other, especially. Yeah.
Then it's like a paid rehearsal.
Yeah.
Right. So you need to have more fun. So then everybody's going to want, it's like, I want to have what fun is there. It's going to transfer to the audience.
Yeah. I believe so.
I've seen it happen. It's happened with other artists. It's happened to me, so.
And actually, and interestingly enough, my previous guest here, he mentioned a Dave Matthews Band.
Oh, beautiful band. Love those.
That's
bands.
another prime example. Like, and
Fusion. Those guys are awesome.
And that is a group that they love each other in such a great way. The brotherhood is so real with that group.
Yeah, the energy level is. I've watched all their DVDs. I haven't had the pleasure of seeing them live yet.
Yeah,
but I own one of their DVDs, and I haven't watched it in a while, but I remember watching that concert, and it was just, wow. The energy was there. It's like Bruce Springsteen and his band.
Oh, yeah.
Like, they had energy. It's like Prince with New Power Generation or the Revolution. It was the energy.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's what you got to continue to bring.
Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah, it's great. And when it comes to these festivals that you've mentioned, it's like for me as an attendee myself, going to festivals, that's something that that gets me excited. It's just like the atmosphere that it provides, and then I can tell just from how you describe your experience, how you take it so seriously as someone behind the scenes. You want people to be excited. You want people to be completely stoked for this upcoming shindig that everyone's going to be at.
Exactly.
So when it comes to that, you were talking about booking artists to play these different shows, right? So as we mentioned earlier, you've also been a curator for emerging artists through the Hamilton Arts Council.
Right.
So tell me your experience about that.
Yeah, it was called the BIPOC music series, iHeart Music Series. So,
right.
And for anybody listening, if the BIPOC is abbreviation for or an acronym, Black, Indigenous, People of Color.
Yeah, exactly.
So the core element was to open up a platform for independent artists in the Hamilton, Southern Ontario area to submit an application.
Yeah, sorry.
To be chosen as one of the featured artists.
Yes.
And if they were, then they would receive a booking fee.
Mm-hmm.
They would receive, and then they'd be able to have their one performance recorded.
Yeah.
Part of the video presentation, and then it would be on the YouTube channel for Hamilton Arts Council during Hamilton Arts Week. So they would be able to, that's a high quality video that they're getting, and they're getting a standard booking fee,
right?
As well as they get some opportunity to speak with other professionals that are involved in the Arts Council that can give them good consultation.
Right on.
So I was with them for about 3 years.
Yeah.
And then we would also host a live presentation of the winners, where they can perform live in front of an audience.
Right on.
And then we record that, and then they get a copy of it, and they get mentioned in the local newspaper.
That's right.
So the Hamilton Spectator, which covers all of like millions of people in Hamilton.
That's right.
So it was a really good program, and it's still active. I moved on.
Yeah.
I'm working more with independent artists, a lot more as a consultant.
That's right.
I'm tour managing right now for a Delta blues artist.
That's right.
And it was something that it did a lot of impact. We had I was able to work with a sitar player, which is great. Because it was very diverse. We wanted to have as much representation within the BIPOC community as possible.
That's right.
Because there are more now.
Yeah.
But it was slowly coming into play where the opportunities were available.
That's right.
Now we're seeing it more forefront, which is good.
Exactly.
It's good. So
exactly.
it was a great experience working with the Hamilton Arts Council.
Yeah, and for thanks to you guys for being such huge supporters for diversity, because
Absolutely.
we feel like this is something that every town could definitely improve on.
Yeah, for sure.
Right.
I mean, we have so many talented individuals that are from various community backgrounds, and everybody needs an opportunity.
That's right.
To have that, and it's not, and there's a lot of underdeveloped genres.
Yeah,
and that's why I always love college radio, campus radio.
Oh, agreed. Yeah,
because that's where you hear. I got taught about a lot of diverse music from listening back when I was in Toronto, CKLN 88.1, which was Ryerson's radio station, Ryerson University. So that's where my first radio program was on there.
And that's the thing I admire so much about college and community radio stations is that, let's say, for example, even, Bob from accounting can have his own radio show.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And it's great.
I loved it.
Yeah. And for those who don't know, this is how the iconic BC-based interviewer Nardwar got started.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, college, nice.
Yeah, because he started out at UBC's radio station, and so he started off with that before he got into doing much music.
Yeah.
Right. And so look at Nardwar now. Now he's one of the
international.
Oh yeah, he's going international.
He's great. I love YouTube, and I'm sure he's loving YouTube because that exposed him to so many people across the world.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, exactly. And so when it came to community radio stations, that's the thing, because I'm just like, now this is something I wish I knew about a long time ago, because a lot of young artists, they must have they've only dreamed to get played by, say, Virgin Radio, or any other big name
commercial
mainstream
radio,
station,
yeah,
commercial radio basically.
Yep.
But then some people don't realize that, if you actually look at your community radio stations, including college campuses or any other community radio stations you can think of, internet radio, whatever, or other podcasts, even, for example, the opportunity is there for them to get played. It's just, you just got to make that connection with those people and don't have to worry about the commercial radio stations for now, just like,
I always say to independent artists that college radio and campus community radio stations should be your commercial radio.
Exactly.
They have to understand it's commercial radio because they sell commercials. And the way they sell commercials is by playing popular music, and the people that own it are the major labels.
Yes,
because they have a thing, legal payola now.
Right.
They know how they know how to grease the palms, and they build a relationship with them. They're saying, well, we're going to buy advertising for this concert or this album. So there you go. So college radio, it's great because a lot of the gatekeepers in the music industry and the live event industry watch and listen to college radio. There's a college radio chart in Canada.
That's right.
Airshot. So through Exclaim magazine. That was my Bible. I would always see, okay, who's charting? Because I know I want to get my clients charted.
Exactly.
And, so that's how you do it. And they have so many diverse radio programs on there. You'll get played eventually.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So speaking of artist management, so right now, one of the many people that you've been managing, and I've heard his name already, are the amazing Danny Boy. Tell us more about Danny.
Danny Boy Phelan. I've known him for like 18 years. He is an amazing talent. Authentic is a common word being used by a lot of people because he's about 32.
Yeah,
and he does 1920s to 1940s, maybe 50s. Mississippi Delta blues,
like Muddy Waters or that kind of influence.
Yeah. He's like Robert Johnson,
yes.
Sonny Terry.
Yes.
He's old school, and even like and that style that he does is so southern and then I grew up listening to a lot of that in bass and gospel. So that's why I connect, and he sings a lot of those old hymns like that.
Right on.
And he plays like 7 instruments.
Awesome.
Banjo, harmonica, fiddle, mandolin, resonator guitar, acoustic guitar, electric guitar, and he sings.
That's amazing.
And he plays piano.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and he's a great guy, humble guy. You'd never know. He is an amazing guy. He has a great story. Like, people have to understand that when he was like in his mid-teens, he made a trek down south and was hitchhiking, hoboing, and jumping trains. And almost got thrown off and robbed by a hobo off a train.
Oh my goodness!
So he's authentic. When people say he's authentic, like that, and that's people are just when they hear him the first time, and these are individuals that are other musicians, and have been in blues way longer than me and have won awards in blues. Have heard him play, like when he plays banjo or harmonica or sings, and they're like, he's authentic. Right on. Right, and it's crazy. He's from St. Catharines. So
yeah, there you go. And you're talking about like all those journeys when he's been traveling coast to coast, right? And it's like the wild train rides and all that. I mean, that stuff could be his own songs. I'm assuming he wrote songs about that.
Oh yeah,
I'm sure he must have done that.
He's got songs on that. If you check, he's on Bandcamp, and Danny Boy Phelan, and then Phelan is PHELAN.
That's right.
He's on Bandcamp. And you just listen to, there's like 6 songs on there that I recorded out of a barn in 30 minutes north of Kingston.
No kidding.
Yeah, we recorded it last year.
Wow.
2023.
Wow.
Well, it depends on when this comes out. So 2022, we recorded it. And
amazing. It's
been a great time to see people connect to his songs.
Yeah.
And and even to see his development as an artist, because this is what I've been producing is like an artist development tour for him.
That's right.
To really let people get, introduced or even reintroduced to that genre of music.
That's right.
Because it's an underdeveloped genre, and it's amazing.
Do you feel like that genre itself is completely underrated in Canada specifically? Because I can only imagine it must be admired more in the States, but when it comes to Canada, like at least from my experience, like I don't come across that genre too often from independent artists, at least especially here in BC.
Right. You definitely in Canada. It's a genre that is, there's even subgenres under that type of Mississippi blues.
Right.
Right. So there's individuals out there from BC as well as other parts of Canada that are doing Delta blues.
Yeah.
And doing it very well. Mm-hmm. But then there's something about, I don't know. I'm not talking because I'm working with him, but there's something about his style, the Danny style that he does, that kind of like when they say is authentic.
Yeah. Like
when you've heard it before from someone who's in the South, I'm again growing up with my grandfather, and he's a preacher, So we used to travel to the South a lot.
Yeah.
So we would go to those, country backyard type of Southern churches, and you hear this type of singing and playing in the corner or in the pulpit or at the church, but then you hear it in blues and it's like, okay, yeah, that's authentic.
Yeah.
That's real, where it's not, it's not cleaned up. Mm-hmm. It's real street music.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I can only imagine, when with this kind of style, it's like, man, when you say authentic, it's true, because at least the ones, even the ones I've heard, a long time ago, I'm just like, you know what, I can see why people dig this, because, it's not over processed like a lot of today's records are. There's no auto tune. No auto tune, no click track. I'm just like, I heard not a podcast. I heard a YouTuber recently say this, and I couldn't agree more. He challenges any bands out there, if they want to record a record, just do live off the floor recording, put away the click track, and just let the producers capture the performance.
And that's what we did. That's exactly what we did with the one thing in blues that back then they have a thing called the deadbeat, where they're just stomping. Right?
That's right, yeah.
And that's what Danny, like, I made sure that when we were recording the concert, I put a mic down by his foot.
Great.
So I can record that and then level it after.
Nice.
So we were able to capture that beat, the deadbeat.
Yeah.
And it's such a part of authentic, like say 1920s Delta blues, because they're on the corner just stomping their foot, and they have no drummer, so they got to keep the beat their time, right, the best way they can, right? So he's like, it's that raw connection between artist and instrument, right? It's great.
And going back to full circle, when you talked about Prince, how he does things to honestly, stick it to the man and say, hey, look what I can do.
Right.
I can make this happen, and you can't stop me from it.
Right.
It seems like with this recording process with Danny Boy, it's like this is exactly the same thing. It's like, sticking it to the big wigs out there again. Saying like, hey, look, it doesn't have to be over processed. Like
it's the music, man.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's if you understand. Well, I working with the engineer at the Barn studio. We were lucky enough that he understands his equipment.
That's right.
He knows about microphone placement, and he knows the room, he knows the barn, he knows the reflection. So when you know how to capture sound, because I love sound.
Yeah.
Right. So when you know how to capture it and you know how to respect it, then that's what he was able to do. So we just had to position Danny in, put the right mics around him. Because we had some really nice old vintage mics. Right. We had some so it was really cool to have that type of stuff, because we knew, okay, I know his tone, I know what his instruments sound like, we know what the room's going to sound like. Yeah. So once you're able to do that, and you can just hit play and then, as you say, capture that moment of the performance. Yeah. That's better than studio sometimes, man.
Oh, exactly.
That's the best.
Exactly. And you know what? Once people hear Danny's music, I encourage like as DeShaun here already advertised, I encourage you guys to really go to Bandcamp and listen to Danny Boy Fallon's music. Yeah. It will inspire to challenge you if you are a self-recording artist yourself. If you produce even just in your bedroom as well. Right. I challenge you folks to try to do that. Try to find a day where you're not relying on that technology. The click tracks, the auto tune, and all that stuff. Try to capture an actual authentic performance, and you will see, and show it to people and see how they respond, because from what people have told me, the response from people will show. And play them a processed record, and they'll be like, oh, okay, that's cool. And then you play a performance, an actual real performance, they'll be like, whoa,
there's a big difference.
Yeah
There's a big difference. And you can capture stuff in the studio, but there's nothing like, as you say, live off the floor, because it's one take. So you're capturing mistakes, you're capturing laughter, you're capturing whatever. And there was so many different little idiosyncrasies or little things that happened during the recording that we left in the recording. No, I said, don't take that out, leave that. I want to capture that experience.
The imperfections are the beauty of it.
Imperfections are the perfections, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's amazing. So on a different subject matter, but still wanting to tackle within your home province here in Ontario. I've been to Toronto a couple of times already, and I tell you, I love the music scene out there. And I know you were born in Toronto originally, and when it came to the live local scene, I was blown away seeing the talent at these different venues, including Joe Mama's in Toronto, downtown. Because the house bands that I've seen, they've done some really great selection of songs that I think every other top 40 cover band should be learning from. And even going to see live music at Kensington Market, that's such a really great area. But I want to get your perspective from someone who has pretty much grew up there. What's the thing that you enjoyed about Toronto's music scene?
Oh, diversity, and that you can go in one end and get Afro-Cuban live and just blow you away. Then you're gonna go uptown, you'll get classical jazz, like bebop jazz, and then you go to Cameron House, you get acid jazz and funk. Then you go down, then you go to the Real Jerk and you get reggae.
That's right.
And you can go to Silver Dollar and get late night jazz, and then and you can go again, stay on Queen Street and you'll get hip hop. Or if you wait long enough, you might get a warehouse party, and then you're getting all the old house and dance.
That's right.
That's what I loved. I love that you can have you can get exposed to so many different genres of music because and then the buskers too. Sometimes they're just playing on the street. And that was the greatest thing I used to see. And a lot of cities are becoming more what they call music cities, where they're allowing more of that freedom of the arts. Other than murals you'll see on the wall, but now we're having more music on the corners.
That's right.
And they need to have that because music can touch somebody in that moment that, they don't know if they're having a bad day, and all of a sudden somebody plays a song or a note, because it's all frequency, So once they start playing those notes, and then they start feeling better.
Yeah. It seems like just the way you described it is like, everyone's really stepping up the game to really get music out there in general, because, when I first went to Toronto back in 2009, I caught the tail end of the Much Music experience. Like the Jonas Brothers were there, for example, right? And everyone's been gathering around. They couldn't wait to see the Jonas Brothers get interviewed live on TV, right? But then when I went back again in 2015, that was already the end of Much Music, the one that we knew, right? And that area became a ghost town, and I was just disappointed to see that happened, because like years before that, it was like the ultimate party to go to for live music, to see all the big stars hang around there. But then the way you described it, how now we're trying to get all these buskers out here, just to rock it out, and then there's like all these different places in different streets, just wanting to showcase all these different styles of bands playing. It's like okay, you know what? Now we really need to amp up the locals here and show them what we got.
Yeah, it was bad. It was too bad for Much Music to ways. It's kind of not as the prominent platform. I mean, that was my era of being involved in the retail side of music,
right?
Because I used to be a music and video buyer for HMV back in the days.
Oh yeah. I remember HMV.
Yeah, a couple of their stores. So, but what I used to love HMV because they used to have new release Tuesdays. Sometimes they would have bands do in-store performances.
That's right.
You don't see that. Music stores are gone pretty much, other than record shops. Yeah. But they don't have that connection where a person can make that and wait to buy that new record, or to see the artist perform it and they can get them to sign it. Like that type of interaction is gone, and it's lost. It's just fast food now. You get everything off of your Spotify and stuff like that. But I miss it.
Yeah, exactly. But it circles back to what you were saying earlier about the festivals. Is that the thing that you enjoyed the most is the connection between the artists and their audiences, right?
Exactly.
And whether they're big fans or just casual viewers, but they still get a chance to see artist so and so on stage, right? Yeah. And it's almost like that whole thing, like the human connection in person between the performers and the attendees is so important. Yeah. And even if it's like a simple meet and greet, wherever it may be, even if it's like you said, an autograph signing session at HMV or any other record store. I think, but even when you see record stores, I think they should be doing that more often.
Yeah, you don't hear. I haven't heard a lot of the independent record stores having or promoting in-store performances, or come see the artist and signing, or maybe a Q&A. The artist is going to do an acoustic version. I mean, but again, you leave it's up to the artists sometimes to approach those record stores and say, hey, can I do this with you?
Yeah.
Hey, can I have a new record coming out. Can I come in and do, and help bring people to the store?
Yeah.
It's a two-way street. Right?
Yeah, exactly. And with someone like both you and I, even for myself, I can say I'm a very DIY performing artist myself too. I had to learn how to become my own event planner as well.
Exactly.
And you yourself have done that also. Yeah. Would that be something you would encourage every independent artist to do? Is to think like an event planner as well, besides just being a performing musician?
Artist entrepreneurship. And when you're an entrepreneur, you have to know about marketing.
Yes,
because that's what event planning is. Event planning is marketing.
It is.
It's a form of, it's part of the whole marketing mix. It's it's using that event for whatever it is, whether it's you're supporting a cause for fundraising, a cause marketing, or you're doing a promotional launch, you're doing whatever, a media announcement, however. It's important to know how to connect to your audience, and also it's important to be able to have a history of having your own events where what they call hard ticket sales.
Yeah.
So even if it's $5 to get in, at least you say, hey, at my last 10 shows, I had 50 people and they spent $5 to come see me. Mm-hmm. Or they spent $10 to come see me. Okay, you had 50 people. That means you made $500 each event.
That's right.
So then when you approach, or if somebody approaches you to book you, or you're approaching someone to book you and they ask you how much you are, you could say, well, I'm at least $500.
Yeah.
And they might say, well, we only offer $250. But I've done my last 5 shows. I've had 50 people steady, and I can bring those 50 people to your venue.
Yeah.
So it helps because that gives you a little bit more. Once you have that knowledge and that track record, then you have some negotiating. Yeah,
exactly. And I think at the same time too, what I find is so important when it comes to any of these shows that you do as an independent artist, and actually one friend of mine, he's been so smart about this too. Whenever he plays here in town, when he travels back home, back here to BC, he always uses his GoPro and videotape every gig he's done.
Right.
And he says, because he said he wants to capture that moment.
Right.
And I remember I told him, you know what? That's such a smart idea because I told him this is going to be your perfect calling card if you want to get some bookings for other future gigs down the road.
Always.
And when he did that, I'm just like, thank you for reminding me too, because we all need to remind ourselves, oh, you know what, get some snippets of the gigs that you do, because that you can put towards different booking agencies. Mm-hmm. They can have a look at it and be like, oh, okay, good, he's got a video. Oh, okay, that's how they look like on stage. Okay, cool. Let's get them on
exactly
XYZ show.
Yeah, well, promoters have to know what they're buying.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
Like if you say, hey, book me. Well, what does he look like? I don't need your music video. I need your live performance video.
Yeah, exactly.
So once you have that understanding, it's like, it's like resume for a job.
Yeah, exactly.
That's all it is.
Yeah, exactly. And speaking of which, you also have been working with our good friend Jasai. Mm-hmm. And how did you connect with her initially?
Actually, she connected with me. I think it's going on 2 years ago. She was searching for. I guess managers or booking agencies or people that work with marketing or artist development in reggae music.
Right on.
My company popped up on her search.
Amazing.
And unfortunately, at the time when she contacted me originally, I was already working with another client, and it would have been a conflict of interest in regards to the styles.
Fair enough. Yeah.
And so when I work with artists, I don't have like a whole ranch full. It's like I'm like 3 I'm working with, because I want to make sure I don't spread myself too thin.
Yeah, I hear you.
And make sure that I can I have attention, because each artist, their campaigns aren't the same. Mm-hmm. It might be the same actions, but it's usually in different capacities.
Right.
So then she kept in touch, and time went by, and then there was an event that she was booked to do. Mm-hmm. And when I found out, I reached out to her and said, hey, just gave her a little bit of a warning. And it's like, just be careful, all that kind of stuff. And she appreciated that because we weren't working together at the time. But right. I saw that she was promoting herself. Yeah. So because I kept in touch in regards to just watching social media. So I respected her hustle. Yeah. That she was diligent on doing it herself, not waiting to try to get, the help. Yeah. But that just shows drive. Right.
Exactly.
That shows you really want it.
Yeah.
So just that kept, because I like work ethic.
That's right.
So I really liked her work ethic, and then she was pushing herself.
Good.
And we kept in touch, and then eventually it worked out where I helped her with some consulting for some grant writing, and we just kept on, just talking, finding out more about her vision and what she wants to do in BC, and be involved in helping with women in reggae music.
That's
right. And women in music and period, and then just growing. And her background being someone who's in music education.
That's right.
And she's a talented artist. So, it worked out really well. Yeah. And now we're working more together, helping me with even transitioning and getting more knowledge of the BC area. So it's been great. And
what's the one thing you enjoyed about Jess's music?
The positivity. It's really, it's got that positive energy. It has that it has that, I guess, texture that people need to hear, more, especially in roots reggae music and roots reggae. I think music in general, people need to hear the truth that comes through, when people have gone through other things in life that they can connect to.
Right on.
And that they can use music as healing, and because that's what she wants with her music, to help people with, they call it medicine music, but to help people go when they're going through things.
That's right.
So there's music that they can go to, that's relatable.
Yeah.
And it touches on, those type of, patterns and notes and stuff. So
that's good to know.
I definitely appreciate what she's doing in her music.
I remember, I told her that the first thing that came to mind also from one of her tunes was empowerment. That's one word to describe her, in my personal opinion.
Definitely.
Too.
I agree.
So Jess, if you're listening to this, we really appreciate all you've done and all the music you've composed.
Oh yeah. She's got more coming down the pipe, man.
There you go. Yeah. There you go. Awesome. So just to wrap up, it's already been almost an hour since we've talked, actually. Nice. Yeah. So just to wrap up here is a couple of things. Is there anybody that you want to give a shout out to, first of all?
I'm gonna give a shout out to my boy, my son Taylor.
Right on.
Well, I call him Jamel, but that's his first name. But yeah, my boy. I don't know. I just want to, I haven't really shout out anybody in a long time.
Well, I guess Danny as well.
Yeah. Oh, my dad's my boy. Yeah, man. That's my guy. But yeah, shout out my boy, my son. He's dope.
That's amazing, man. That's awesome. And how can people find you online?
On socials. I don't really have a website or anything like that. I took it down. But social media, Mango Tree Music, music group. You can also Tailor Made Management on Instagram.
Awesome.
And so Taylor as in like the suit tailor.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Because there's a story behind that, because I have scissors as my earrings.
Oh, okay.
And that's in my logo.
Right
so
on.
I always say we're tailor made because my son's name is Taylor.
That's right.
My mother is a hairdresser.
Yes.
For like 40 plus years. Wavelengths Hair Studios in Toronto.
Awesome.
And then her father was my grandfather. He is the suit tailor in Jamaica.
Yeah.
So we always say we're tailor made because we came from him.
Yeah.
So I tied it all in. So it's tailor and then made, all in one word. But you can find me on Instagram as well as Facebook on for DeShaun Jones as well.
Awesome.
You can find out all that stuff.
Awesome.
But yeah, Mango Tree Music Group, you'll be able to find that.
That's awesome. And one more thing that I want to ask. So like going back again, with you coming from a family of entrepreneurs, your parents, your grandparents, and everyone else that you've worked with too. What is the one thing you've learned so much from them that you want to pass on to other future music entrepreneurs?
Work ethic. Just stick it out. Like, you just gotta. I always say I've learned from them is plan your work and then execute it, and try. You got to push yourself. It's not an easy journey. You're gonna be. There's gonna be a lot of complacency. There's gonna be procrastination.
Yeah.
I've gone through it, and then you just gotta continue to push because you know what you. It's if you're an entrepreneur, it's inside you that you're supposed to be doing more.
Yeah.
So as an artist entrepreneur, you're like, I know I need to get my music out, or I want to get my music out for whoever is supposed to listen to it.
Yeah.
Because of whatever they wrote, maybe there is somebody that needs to hear that.
Yeah.
So it's the matter of when they understand the mechanics of music, and to be an entrepreneur of knowing who your audience is, where they are, and then how am I going to connect with them, and how are they going to get my music to them in the easiest way possible, and then have a transaction in there to monetize it. and then other avenues of knowing how to monetize it other than just the consumer connection.
That's right.
That's the key thing is and educate yourself as much as possible. Be a sponge, always learn, network. You got to network, but be a sponge. If you want to do it yourself, you're going to have to wear a lot of hats and have a lot of sleepless nights.
Yeah.
Until you can, have the budget to, bring other individuals involved.
Yeah.
But it's a great ride if you really like to do things like yourself, and you can actually enjoy it because you're accomplishing a lot.
Yeah.
And one of the things I would say is set obtainable goals. Mm-hmm. Don't discourage yourself by trying to get a whole bunch of stuff done in such a short period of time.
No, that's true.
Just spread it out. Take your time. Take each day as it comes, but have obtainable goals. And then do something. Do one or two things a week.
Yeah.
Until you can get the body going again.
And celebrate the progress we've made so far too.
Definitely. You got to be your own cheerleader. Because nobody else is going to do it. Yeah. So those accomplishments that's what I'm saying. Set attainable goals so you can actually celebrate yourself. Say, hey, I got this done.
Exactly.
It's and you'll see the self rewards.
Yeah. And just to all you folks out there too, please, for the love of God, please make sure you take time to sleep and eat as well, because you need that rest.
Health is huge.
Yeah, exactly.
Healthy mind and a healthy heart and everything, and the body too, because you need to push yourself sometimes.
That's amazing. Well, DeShaun, thank you so much for coming down. I really appreciate letting your insights and experiences. And again, please enjoy your stay here in BC. And I hope things will go well with you, and of course to our man Danny Boy.
Yeah, man.
Who we will have on the show one day very soon.
That's awesome. Appreciate that.
And so, folks, thank you so much for tuning in. And make sure again to follow DeShaun on social media, as he mentioned the channels already. And don't forget to just send a message and just say hi. He won't bite. Yeah. So DeShaun, thank you so much again, man. And again, wishing you, thank you. And wishing you the very best. To everybody else who's been tuning in, thank you again. And we will see you next time. We hope you enjoyed this episode of The Eddie Lam Show, a podcast dedicated to interviewing musicians and online content creators of every kind. If you would like to be a guest on the program, feel free to send me an email at eddielammusic@gmail.com. That's EDDIELAM music@gmail.com. Don't forget to check out my website at eddielammusic.ca. That's EDDIELAM music.ca. You can also follow me on social media. Username is Eddie Lam Music. That's EDDIELAM Music on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. Thank you so much for tuning into our program. In the meantime, stay in touch, stay safe, and as always, stay awesome.